getting him this time. Unless their ban strategy is to leave up a bunch of the OP champions, which doesn't seem to be the case with the first two bans.
So Lulu taken off the table by Team Solo Mid. This is something they have adapted to. They banned it away in game 2.
Lucian ban. There we go.
So,
Trend broken.
His 100% win ratio is kept intact. The rest of the bans coming through, as you've talked on already. CLG taken away that Soraka. They also have banned Jax. The question is, what will be their third ban? TSM actually banned Thresh in game 1 of the series to deny that from Aphromoo. I wonder if it's a consideration. Maybe Lee Sin, something else they've banned. There's so many potentials for TSM. They've got 5 seconds left to lock it in.
There are so many champions up. Kha'Zix ends up being the call. And about a third of the time in the LCS, but even more against these two teams because Dexter is so good at it. TSM doesn't want to have to use their first pick on it this time. But even more so, they don't want to give it to Dexter.
Yeah, so we'll have to see what Dexter and the rest of CLG decide to lock in. Really slow pick ban phase. Both of these teams, you can feel the weight of this game and how important a spot in the final, in the championship game is.
Really interesting that that's a Thresh ban, since COG probably could have gotten it on the backside. Unless TSM was willing to first pick it. TSM does first pick it fairly frequently. We didn't really know what TSM was going to be approaching the pick ban phase with, because they've had to adapt so much, and that's why this is so fascinating. We got to see the Karma last game. Now we get to see the first pick Nocturne, which is something that the Odd One played a ton of late Season 2. It is a champion he's familiar with, but just not recently.
Forcing CLG onto a new jungler, or jungle champion for this series.
Yep.
Dexter run that Nocturne in both of the previous games, or at least give some of the initiation power maybe back over to TSM. They haven't had the strongest of go-in style champions.
Right, he was stressing right there. Still is. They're wondering what to do. I think they were really banking on being able to get the Nocturne.
Those are not the faces of very happy men right now. I do want to touch on this Lee Sin. It has been locked in. 100% win ratio for Dexter coming into this. He was 4-4 on the split. The reason I want to highlight that, when they played Team Solo Mid in week 11, week 10, Darius was playing Shyvana, and Dexter instantly deleted and cancelled his Dragon's Rages over and over and over. Every time a Descent came in from that Shyvana, Dexter was really on point with getting him out of the team and protecting CLG.
Thing is, I don't see any reason that Darius doesn't just play Mundo again. He spammed with the first 2 games. He got punished a bit in game 1. But if he gets to late game against a jungle Lee Sin, that kick on Mundo ain't going to do much. It's just going to slow him down a little bit, and he'll come right back at you with cleavers.
Do notice that Darius currently has flash teleport on his summoners. The only reason I highlight that, he's been heal teleport both of his previous games. So maybe an indication that something else is coming. So again, we are still burning down the clock. Remember, the winner of this game advances to the North American LCS Spring Playoffs Championship game and is looking for a slot at All-Stars Invitational. Leona and Renekton.
So TSM has decided to do something completely different, or just do something old, in a sense. Just because Renekton, Leona, Nocturne is very much the win at 25 minutes TSM composition of days gone by, where they dominate the laning phase, they set up bot lane ganks with Nocturne, and they just try and execute and maintain control. That's the Renekton pick tells me.
And we'll see if they can pull that off. We'll also see how important the opening minutes of this game will be. The towers have been traded and swapped, and if TSM are looking for that lane dominance that you've highlighted, maybe they want head-to-head matchups. Maybe they don't want to give up towers early on. Also, as a note, 5-5. Darius is undefeated on Renekton this split this year.
If they're picking Renekton, they want to force Renekton into a 1v1 lane. They want Darius to be able to shine. Yen is really worried about this pick ban phase. Good lord.
I don't think I've ever seen
him that stressed.
I've never seen Dexter that stressed. And consider that Dexter was on the world stage at the Season 3 World Championships in the groups, and I've never seen that look on Nian or Dexter's
Aphromoo, though. Aphromoo always brings out Alistar in the face of Leona so he can headbutt her out of combos, and they try to set that up. They usually do that with Vayne, though. This time they're doing it with Caitlyn. This is very low overall damage output by CLG. They're going to have to rotate exquisitely if they want to win this one.
We'll need to see how Link decides to play that mid lane. Going to need some form of damage to back it up. TSM side, every single champion on Team Solo Mid's composition is screaming early damage.
Yes,
early damage is screaming early lane dominance, and we'll see who works it out.
So Corki gets in for Wild Turtle. Big pick there. It's just so many of TSM's classic champions is exactly what they went back to in this game 3. They took a complete move back to comfort, but because of the red side pick and ban meta that just developed within this series, the fact that they ended up banning the Lucian, they put CLG off kilter as well. CLG is playing something entirely different as well. These are common champions for CLG. It's what they're used to, but this would be a patch 4.2 or a patch 4.3 early 2014 season stuff that these guys are going at it. And at that time in the year, TSM was miles better than Counterlogic Gaming.
Well, we'll have to see if that same trend continues. These comps somewhat reminiscent of the games we've seen this weekend. Yesterday when Curse was dealing with the poke that was coming out of Dignitas, it took 3 games for them to find their initiations. Team Solomid doesn't have that time. They need to be on point right now.
They look like they've picked a very comfortable composition. It's really going to depend heavily on if TSM can get this early game control and understand where CLG has been going. CLG came out on top in both games 1 and 2 as far as early game map movements, and with this team composition, TSM has to jump on them early.
We'll have to see if they make it work. Players are loading into the game. We want to know, once again, just remind you all to tweet at us who you think will win. Remember, the compositions and the look on Niantanso's face. That was stretched. Nian's face.
Yeah, Nian's face. Or Niantanso, changed him. Cast your vote by tweeting at LOL Esports, the hashtag TSM or CLG win. And it's been going back and forth.
It's trended in CLG's favor. It has trended up in CLG's favor. I think for Nian, he really needs to settle his nerves. He's on that trundle. He needs to be a tanky frontline because truthfully, if anybody gets past him, there's not a lot of damage sitting on CLG's roster.
The whole team is a little bit low. I wonder how CLG is going to manufacture kills. That's really what they're going to have to do. They don't necessarily have the ability to force them. They don't have absurd team fighting ability. They just have to be very sneaky about the way they get things done. Dexter has to be completely on point with Lee. Everything has to work in synergy.
We are into the deciding game of Team Solomid versus Counterlogic Gaming. TSM on the blue side for this one. Heavy initiation comp coming up against Counterlogic's control comp, I think I'm going to call it. Deciding spot in this championship game. A winner of this advances and has a chance to claim the title as the best team in North America for this split so far.
And they're going to end up playing the winner of Cloud9 versus Curse. Cloud9, of course, the heavy favorites in the matchup, which comes up right after this. So we have League of Legends all day long. But what a way to start it off here.
Hoping for more best of 3s to go all the way. We had one of them yesterday. This is the same strategy that CLG pulled out in game 1, using Nian as that sort of lure, sitting in the river and waiting for anyone to come by. There's a fair amount of CC, but it doesn't look like TSM are going to fall for it. Previously, TSM were the ones that invaded red, and ladies and gentlemen, the TSM fans are out in force. I feel they were silenced in game 2, and they are back for game 3.
After that Bjergsen pentakill, everyone came out of the woodwork for TSM. 84-16. Early game, I wonder if CLG is going to be pulling off invades. Do have the teleport, obviously, if they want to try and correct the lanes, but it actually seems like TSM is in position to set up a 2v2 laning phase.
CLG not really moved from their early positionings, and we'll see how that laning phase works out. This is duos that we've not seen a whole heck of a lot of this year. Corki Leona against Caitlyn and Alistair, and this is old school combos. I mean, this is season 3, season 2 stuff even.
Well, Aphromoo loves playing Alistair against Leona. He just hopes people play Leona, because Alistair is probably his favorite champion as far as playing support. It's going to be very interesting. This is awesome how we get the straight-up lane matchups in the deciding game. So much of this is just telling you TSM, 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 because this is the type of game where they went on the 11-game winning streak, and this is how they have been dominating teams. Game 1 was won because TSM played CLG's game. Game 2 was extremely close because TSM pulled out something new and kind of reset the deck. Now it's game 3. It's CLG playing TSM's game.
Let's see who comes out superior. Dyrus taking a lot of damage early on, actually. He's going up against Nian with that cloth armor and a whole bunch of potions. So, sustain somewhat sitting in Nian's favor. We'll see how Dyrus continues to handle that lane out.
Yeah, this is going to be Bjergsen trying to bully Link early on. And then afterwards, it's going to be all about the long-range spears and Link staying out of engagement range of the LeBlanc. Bjergsen's had a very dominating year on LeBlanc, being able to pretty much destroy anyone.
On the same token, he's also had some games where he hasn't necessarily swung the entire outcome in recent weeks. We did see in the previous game, though, Bjergsen was, I think, significantly ahead of Link in terms of CS with the Karma pick. And we'll see if he can get that sort of dominance again. He's got a small lead. And here's the interesting lane that we talked about. Aphromoo into Xpecial.
Caitlyn is one of Doublelift's favorite AD carries because of the ability to just keep someone at bay. Can't talk about that, though. Dexter going in for Dyrus.
See how this works out. Dyrus does have Flash. He's going to slice once, does have Dice, does manage to get away. Sonic Wave connects. That's instant Flash from Dyrus. He's going to put distance between him and Nyan. But Flash burn, successful gank by CLG.
Yeah, Dexter's going to walk into the odd one. That's going to be a lot of damage.
Spell Shield is up. That is a lot. Dexter is going to continue moving Safeguards away. That's a good amount of damage from the odd one on Nocturne.
It is, but the lane is still frozen here for Nyan if he keeps it here, and that should give him a bit of an experience edge on Dyrus. Dexter decides to shove it up a little bit. He's trying to keep pace with the odd one as well. Xpecial
does manage to jump in the way. Finally stuns up Aphromoo. Held onto that shield of Daybreak for a very long time. But at the end of the day, trade in favor of CLG again.
Yeah, before that gank happened in the top lane, we're talking about why Doublelift likes Caitlyn so much. She has a very quick attack animation, and when you're extremely good at Caitlyn, you can just stay completely out of range of someone with inferior range. Like Corki, 550, Doublelift will be very good at just getting those one auto attacks and always walking backwards extremely quickly. He's very tough to kill, especially late game. And with the Alistar, anytime they try and engage on him, it's just that added level of peel to isolate targets.
Wild Turtle, very low on hit points, does not have that potion to keep himself sustained. Aphromu's keeping Doublelift nice and healed thanks to heals that he's throwing out. One thing we didn't touch on, 2 ignites on the side of TSM. We'll get to that in a second. They've caught Link out. That is a root, but doesn't manage to connect with a Javelin. 2 ignites in TSM versus none on CLG.
But Flash and Heal burned in the mid lane, and the ignites on TSM are just indicative of them trying to reset this playstyle to being earlier on. They're not playing the heal game. They're still playing their old win early, destroy the lanes style, and they're going to hope to power through the healing of CLG with multiple ignites.
So with that being said, Counterlogic Gaming have had the first early wins in terms of the top lane and the bottom lane, forcing Wild Turtle back. Link struggling somewhat in the mid lane, and CS is sitting pretty even. Nyan was a little bit down from Dyrus, but that's been evened up. And Dexter, he's sniffing this bottom bit. I feel this might be forced. I don't really see Wild Turtle and Xpecial being caught out.
Exactly. I feel like the only way Wild Turtle and Xpecial go in is if they're getting a gank from the odd one. It's probably just a misread there by Dexter. He was hoping to counter gank, and Alistar would have been very good at supporting that gank, but it ends up just being Lee Sin standing in a brush for a small period of time.
Nothing ventured, nothing gained, I suppose. Dexter's going to back away and still trading this top lane.
Yeah, and Dexter is actually going for a very aggressive early game. As you can see, he's done 2 longswords before even completing his Spirit Stone, so he's most likely going for that Lizard Elder, but he's went for the damage first.
Hasn't necessarily paid off just yet.
Hasn't been able to find ganks.
Great to see Dexter changing his jungling style, though, as the series has gone on. From that Feral Flare, now spending a lot of time in lanes. We haven't seen him make this sort of concerted effort at interrupting lanes. You can see he's moving to the top as well. Once again, coming up behind Dyrus.
But level 6, going to be tough to tango.
Dominus is up, instantly thrown. That's a chomp. That's slice for 1. Does actually stop, turns it back around. That's very aggressive by Dyrus. Dexter nowhere near landing that Sonic Wave, but Dyrus totally in control, reading the situation well.
Yeah, and now he gets that empowered Q on the full wave, and it's like that gank never even happened, except both CLG members are low. Plus, there's a Nocturne waiting in the wings. This is going to hurt Dexter's jungle substantially.
So level 5 Nocturne does not have Paranoia, about 3/4 of a way from getting to his ultimate, but very well turned around by Dyrus.
He's in complete control. TSM has to be so happy that they could isolate Dyrus in a laning scenario against Nyan, especially with Renekton. That is where Dyrus is comfortable, and it's where he shines. He is just manhandling this top lane.
Not even afraid to go in. That's the subjugate. Once again, Dyrus just trying to put some distance between him. Dexter is very low. There's no dominance. That's a flash forward from the end just to get the chomp. They're going to continue
there's no
to chase.
ultimate on Dyrus.
Sonic Wave is there. Now Dyrus is looking for a cooldown. 4 seconds before the slice and dice. Dexter flashes away from the stun. First blood secured, and Dexter outplays an overconfident Dyrus.
Absolutely what happened there, Quickshot. The overconfidence of Dyrus comes back to haunt him and they give it back. He gives away his lead in the top lane, trying to bite off more than he could chew.
Particularly like the flash timing from Dexter.
Yeah, that empowered W may have taken him out, so he had to flash away.
Good read on the situation. Good counter, actually, from CLG. So Dyrus forced to use that teleport to get back to lane. Well, not forced. He decided to. Going to continue pushing out the wave. Still has a CS advantage, but Nian coming back with that Vamp Scepter.
Yeah, big time battle in the top lane. The bottom lane has been a little bit more subdued. It's because the Alistar actually negates a lot of aggression early unless you try and go in for ganks, in which case he has fairly good gank support. You really don't see much Alistar against most picks because he's poked out fairly easily. He's all in or just mainly useless early on in the laning phase. You pick him for the team fighting. And CLG is at least with that edge in the bottom lane.
We do see CLG. They're getting that extended laning phase, and when you've got champions like CLG's, the Trundle, the Nidalee, the Alistar you mentioned, the later the game goes, the happier they're really going to be.
This is an interesting timing maneuver right here by CLG. They expect Odd1 to be over at his blue buff right now, so they're just rushing down the dragon. A nice move there, just having the timers. So CLG is playing the standard laning phase. It's actually going entirely how you would expect if you're ranking the strength of these teams. Nian is losing to Dyrus in the 1v1, which is expected. Doublelift and Aphromoo, they think they're the best bottom lane in North America. They're winning by 20 in pretty much a straight-up 2v2. And then mid lane, Bjergsen with the Blanc, a slight edge, and is able to roam. They're really trying to punish Nian here in the top lane.
We'll see if they can make it stick. Dominus is available for Dyrus, has been thrown down. Nian's been silent. Subjugator's out. He's healing, and he's down. Another fantastic dive from a LeBlanc, this time Bjergsen and Dyrus.
Aside from not being at the turret, nothing Nian could have done there. Dyrus was so tanky with that ultimate, just eating up the turret while Bjergsen was free to spam spells on him. Dexter gonna have to soak up the experience while Nian is gone.
So we've seen Shifter doing that yesterday. It didn't really help Coast out. We'll see if Bjergsen can make it stick more. He's got the makings of a Deathfire Grasp. The only reason I point that out, it's somewhat different to the LeBlanc builds we've been seeing in recent weeks.
Yeah, but it's one of Bjergsen's specialties, is just finding the single target and crushing him out. You may have seen the death cap by a lot of others, but this is the Bjergsen special as far as the way he plays LeBlanc. Another thing that is very important to note is because of the standard lanes, Odd1 has had much more time to farm stacks onto his Wriggles Lantern. His Wriggles is at 16 stacks. He needs 25 for Feral Flare. He is going to get a very early transform on that, and he has a bunch of experience, already level 8, with double buffs.
And that's a role reversal from the previous game where it was Dexter that got that early. They caught Doublelift. Aphromoo was in the mid lane. Yep. Instant flash from Doublelift.
Damage potential of that Corki Leona lane is too immense for Doublelift to not burn flash right away.
Solar Flare, rather, is available for Xpecial, knowing that Doublelift doesn't have that flash, and that is such good damage from a Tiamat Renekton.
This is going to be a problem for CLG. Nian needs to find a way, and CLG as a whole needs to find a way to manipulate this game and make it about roaming. The longer Dyrus is isolated against Nian, the more punishing he is going to become.
Oh, look at that damage. Nian's in trouble. Dominus is only a few seconds away from being available.
Doesn't even have flash.
Dyrus may consider this. Look at Odd1's positioning. Dexter is going to respond, so this could quickly become a 2-on-2. Dyrus, the question
is a bait at this point, though, with Dexter there. They were hoping to bait a tower dive, and Dyrus, he's gotten caught going over aggressive once and recovered. Will he do it again?
Do you see Dexter, Odd1 rather, still hanging around? Every time I see Nocturne going up, oh, that's a great pulverize. Aphromoo interrupting the Zenith Blade. My word, man, your reaction times.
He is the Alistar player for a reason, but look at that damage to the mid lane while the gank approaches top. Here's Lee Sin for the maybe save. He's gone.
Oh, Nian is dead. That was just perfect. Dexter, you really don't want to stick around for that one. He's going to try soak up the XP, but 1-2, wham bam, thank you ma'am, and Nian's gone.
That was brutal for Nian right there. Dyrus, even with the slight Renekton nerfs early, 200 less health on his Dominus, doesn't matter because this matchup isn't even close. It's about the damage, actually, for Dyrus right now. Double Thorns with the Tiamat, not letting Nian breathe.
So, Dyrus is just going to continue denying CS and experience. Nian actually forced to teleport to that top lane. So, Summoner Spell used. Trying the best he can, but every time Dominus and Paranoia is up, TSM can just rinse and repeat. That's 2 ganks on Nian's Trundle. And we talked in the picks and bans how important it was going to be for Nian to be able to be a strong front line to allow Link to find the spears. And it's going to be a long time before that happens.
And it's a TSM special to have Odd1 pick a lane and gank it over and over and over again. Oftentimes it was bot lane in the past when they would run Nocturne compositions, but they may as well go where their strength is right now and keep going at Dyrus' Renekton. Meanwhile, he just gets to keep farming and stack up that Feral Flare.
Getting closer and closer for the item to evolve. Team Solo Mid now for the first time all series with a lead out of the laning phase. First tower secured in favor of Team Solo Mid. Public opinion is with them, momentum is with them. That's a second tower less than a few seconds later. And this is a massive swing in control.
TSM is a team with exceptional solo laners, and they got to solo lane 1v1, and they made CLG pay. Exactly what they wanted tactically coming into this series. It's incredible that they were able to force CLG into this position.
CLG now going to try to find a way to respond. Remember, they did grab the first dragon. The reason I bring that up, it's a minute and a half before it respawns. Council Logic Gaming maybe going to consider looking for it. We'll need to see well they decide to move in. That bottom end has actually been pretty passive.
Oh boy.
Oh, that's a good steal on the big golem. Insta-flash from Nien.
The solo lane control is gone, and Dexter's not strong enough to be able to babysit both of these lanes. CLG is quickly losing control of this game, and you think even to the very start of this, strategically, what has happened really within this series to go from CLG having complete control and dictating the pace to TSM to it being completely the other way. This is the TSM style. They are getting exactly what they want, and CLG is getting nothing right now.
Well, we'll have to see how it works out. Xpecial and Wild Turtle combo up together to get that pink ward down. So the pink eye in the bush has been removed. The CLG still looking to farm themselves up. The only moves we've really seen has been from Dexter in the top lane, and it hasn't worked out. That's one of those situations where it's so difficult if you try to gank a losing lane, especially one that can turn it back around, as Dyrus has already done this game.
Here's the trickiest thing. He's went Sightstone Lee Sin. And since they already have a monster of Renekton in the top lane, a 2v1 gank might not even grant a kill. He basically has to go bottom lane, where Wild Turtle and Xpecial are content just farming because they know that their solo lanes will carry them to a victory. Lee Sin can't necessarily gank LeBlanc. She's just going to jump away. Dexter's maybe out of moves here.
We'll need to see what he decides to do. Making his way towards the river. He just placed a ward in that bush. It was instantly pinged out by TSM, so I think they're aware of it.
They might try to find Dexter in the jungle now. Nice nibbly trap.
We're going to, until Vision was revealed. So Bjergsen grabs himself on a trap, immediately backs away. TSM, less focus on stealing buffs from CLG this game. You contrast that to the opening 15 minutes of games 1 and 2. And exactly as you've highlighted many times already, Jet, TSM just wanting those head-to-head matchups, wanting to let their composition and their champion counter picks really do the work for them.
Ooh, this is extremely dangerous right now. The rest of TSM could collapse down onto CLG if they get caught during that dragon. They want to poke with Nidalee Spears before doing anything drastic. This game could very easily get out of hand for CLG if they lost a dragon fight.
Teleports available on both top laners, not needed as they've moved their way down to the bottom half of the map. Dexter still moving into position. It looks like they've given it up.
Honestly, they have to concede this. There is too much strength on TSM right now. Dyrus is level 12 to a level 10 Yen in the top lane. Even though both top laners have came down, both top laners aren't really there because Yen isn't a full person right now when compared to Dyrus. This is just too much for TSM. Too much for CLG to deal with.
TSM, it feels like they're trying to bait CLG to start the dragon because TSM have made no movements for it. They also don't want to get poked down by Nidalee Spears. Keep that in mind. Instead, they've stuck both Dyrus and Bjergsen in the mid lane. No one from CLG is here to defend this. We do see Link, he's taking a long walk around. If the minions hold true, this could be another tower for TSM. I think it's going to be.
Yeah, that's even better than the dragon. They were using the dragon as a way of drawing CLG away from the mid lane, and then because they are so much stronger as a unit, they moved through the CLG jungle, preventing the rotation past the blue buff, and giving them free time on that turret.
Just like that, the strategic control and decision-making you now feel is in TSM's hands. Games 1 and 2, it was all about CLG and their movements and their plays. And now, how does CLG bounce back? How do they do what TSM did in the previous game to bring it back into this match?
It's going to be incredibly difficult at this point. We heard Kobe talking on the analyst desk before this game that CLG sometimes chokes in these big moments, and it seems to be happening again. If you just look at their just lackadaisical play right here in this game, they haven't made rotations early on in the game. They have lost control, and now they're just back into old habits. Playing TSM's game is not the way you beat TSM. and now they just go and get the dragon.
CLG are too far away for this. By the time they even get within distance, it will be secured. So Team Solo Mid grab themselves a 4,000 gold lead, their first dragon of the game. Map movements are in favor of TSM, and they're doing well.
Even just thinking about the camera shots during Champion Select, Nien had his head in his hands. His mind was shattered before this game even began. Something happened here strategically for these guys, or during game 2, that has put them a little bit on tilt, and TSM is taking full advantage.
And Team Solo Mid have made it all the way down. Most of the turrets in the top half of the map. The question is, at what point does Odd1 give some love to this bottom lane? He's down by those bottom golems. Team Solo Mid seem to continue to be content to farm this one up, grow the lead a little bit further, and Dexter and Link now are the first ones to make their move down. Not sure if this is going to be a tower dive or not. Ward goes down, and that's immediately Walter out of position.
There is a teleport available on Renekton if this dive begins, and there's also a Nocturne with an ultimate up. Turret getting low, but CLG not committing.
Attack speed buff from Nidalee, allowing Doublelift to do work on that tower. Down to below a couple hundred hit points. A warm breath of air should knock it over in this next wave, and it does seem to be the decision here from CLG. They're moving onto the tower. Paranoia is up. They're going
might just go.
And that was a little half-hearted. They do manage to catch Doublelift out. Now Odd1 knocked up into the air. Pulverize is not available. Instantly headbutts Dyrus away. Is it enough though? That's the question. That's a Valkyrie forward from Wild Turtle as Aphromoo is going to sacrifice himself for the team, giving up his life as a support should. But at the end of the day, TSM hold on to the tower and they get another kill. They should also get the bottom tower as well.
Yeah, that was a nice escape by CLG to avoid taking more deaths, but there was still no realistic way they were fighting there. There was actually a canceled teleport flash.
Oh! So that went well. Flash deleted. What was the hashtag LCS big play? Bjergsen deleted that guy? Basically the same situation.
That was big. That's the DFG right there from Bjergsen coming in. Dexter nowhere is safe at this moment, and the push should continue now from TSM. They're taking advantage of that 20-minute laning phase.
There's nobody on CLG that can defend this. If Doublelift sticks around, he may get jumped. He has been jumped. Bjergsen bursts him down. Summoner heal has been used. Now Bjergsen gets knocked up. As tower hits plus the javelin means he goes down. All of a sudden TSM, have they bitten off more than they can chew? The answer does look to be yes. Xpecial has given up his life, and Dyrus is just going man mode, pushing CLG away. Nien Sonso is finally coming into his own. Dyrus stuns up Nien. We do see Wild Turtle still untouched. Nien still alive. Safeguard shield keeps him up. Now Wild Turtle is the next target. Can the slow come in? That's the question. Headshot proc. That's him down. Link grabs himself another kill, and 3 for 0. Odd1 forced to flash over the wall. Link is trying to run down Dyrus. This is going to be scary. Oh, the damage! He gets it! That is a scary crocodile. Link is out.
Link overcommitting right at the end of that fight. TSM does overcommit that fight, though. You could see there is some nice kiting potential for the CLG team if the dive is too big. That is very critical for CLG getting at least something back. Getting a kill onto Bjergsen, getting a kill onto Turtle, all very important things. Still, though, a 5,000 gold edge.
Oh, Shane doesn't connect, and that means Bjergsen needs to back off. So CLG make the best of a bad situation. They lost their tower. They did give up a few kills. Talk us through this.
We have to see this one more time. Doublelift got so low that it kind of baited TSM in, but the stun with the Nidalee Spear, Van Bjergsen was down. He's the biggest threat right here. And then, with Bjergsen down and no mana on TSM, I think is the critical thing. Odd1 and Wild Turtle were both out. It means Corki can't be a persistent threat, whereas Doublelift still can be from the back with his Caitlyn. Then it's just a matter of trying to chase down with pillars and returning fire throughout. Dexter finally comes in at the very end, saves Nien from that auto attack kill. Unfortunately, that Q falls wide. He can only get Turtle. Odd1 had this flash the entire time. He was hoping to split CLG's focus, which he did. And obviously, we saw the overcommit at the end from Link, hopping into a big croc.
So, Team Solo Mid, a momentary weakness, I think. I'm using that word very loosely, of course, because CLG also committed, also chased, which allowed TSM to grab themselves a few kills on the way out. Gold lead is continuing to grow. You have to highlight that. We're up to 5,500 sitting in TSM's favor. The only tower that has fallen on their half of the map has been in that bottom lane thanks to that previous team fight. So CLG still sniffing for objectives.
Yeah.
That's confident.
And there was a kill in the mid lane while Dyrus was laughing all about that one. We'll get that replay up as soon as this action calms down in the top lane. It is just crazy that it's 5 turrets to 1
1v3.
for such an objective control team.
That Paranoia comes in. Doublelift is being forced out. He's feared. He's held in place. Dyrus gets the kill credit. 3 members of TSM trying to surround members of CLG. Dexter's taking them on a wild ride. It's another kill for Dyrus. 4-1-4.
And the push in the mid lane is just continuing. TSM is taking everything from CLG and leaving them with nothing. It is a complete role reversal from game 1. In game 1, TSM was just showing their mid lane pushes, showing their hand. Now it is CLG, and TSM is punishing them for it.
Team Solo Mid will secure the first inhibitor of the game at 23 minutes and 18 seconds. After the solo kill on Link, after CLG overcommits in the top lane, maybe feeling the pinch, feeling the pressure. Here's that replay.
Yeah.
That's just a straight outplay.
This is just a red buff on Wild Turtle, surprising the crap out of Link at this point in the mid lane. That's 2 times now Link has just gotten too close to the enemy. Once with Renekton, again with Wild Turtle. Him and Yen both struggling mightily in this matchup.
And you can't deny the fact that Corki is an AD carry that we haven't seen a lot of in recent weeks. And you somewhat forget the burst that he has.
Yeah,
No, Team Solo Mid, 81% to 19%. The way they are playing, it's very difficult to see how CLG are going to pull this one back. They need to turtle, and they need to pull off a monumental defense. TSM.
They got to get away from this.
They sneak flag.
There's an ultimate up on X Special. He lands it on Doublelift.
He manages to go in. Another great knock-up from Aphromoo. TSM seems to continue to want to chase, though. Paranoia is not available for the odd one. Keep that in mind. Ace in the hole gets channel, but they're just focusing X Special. None of the carries have taken any damage.
Wow.
Yeah, X Special's low, but the carries are still there. Dyrus is the crocodile you want to see.
It's a desperation fight for CLG. They see someone low. They're trying to get as much as they can.
It's not going to work out. Niantonso does throw out that subjugate. Here comes Bjergsen from the side. Tries to burst somebody down. Nobody has died yet. This is the longest engage of the game so far. Dexter's the first victim. Nian follows suit. Dyrus is putting on those blue sage shoes, and the giant crocodile's looking for the cow. The Paranoia finally comes available, and Doublelift is being chased by the odd one. Manages to get the Dustbringer and the Fear. Doublelift's going down. Does manage to use the something. He'll keep himself up for a few more seconds. It's not enough. There are super minions on the Nexus. Ladies and gentlemen, Team Solo Mid are going to the championship game. Team Solo Mid are pushing down the base.
The teleport comes in from Dyrus, and faster than all 3 of the games, TSM closes out CLG.
Counter Logic Gaming put up a hell of a fight in games 1 and 2, but they got dominated in game 3. Team Solo Mid have done it. They are in the championship game. They will be playing tomorrow, and that was a great turnaround series.
Considering how badly they lost in game 1 and how they were losing in game 2, I cannot say how impressive this game 3 domination was. They had their backs against the wall, and boy, did they respond.
Have to question what was going on in CLG's heads.
What was going on in that camp?
Beginning of the game, Nien looks shell-shocked.
Yeah, look at them now.
Dexter, equally so.
Crushed at this point. The storied history between these teams, how long CLG has been aching to knock TSM off of their pedestal, and it was not the day today. Everything was in CLG's favor, but TSM just pulled them through in the end.
Last time CLG took a series of TSM, which didn't even result in a tournament victory. MLG Anaheim, 2012, if I recall correctly, a long, long time ago. I do, however, want to say that this is the first time in a long time that you feel that TSM and CLG are much closer to evenly matched.
Yes.
This series could have gone either way.
They